Now on CoastTV News.
Chronic wasting disease, what steps DNREC is taking to track the deadly deer disease. Iran deal uncertainty.
Condition number one is they have to reopen the straits.
Missiles launched amid peace talks. Delaware's first four-year medical school.
We have a shortage of physicians in the rural areas.
When and where future students can apply.
Well, it looks like we're going to need that sprinkler forecast because we're not getting much in the way of rain anytime soon.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Deer disease update. Good evening, I'm Brandon Ferguson. We begin tonight with new efforts from DNREC to monitor chronic wasting disease in Delaware deer. This comes after two white-tailed deer were harvested in Sussex County that tested positive for chronic wasting disease, marking the first time the disease has been detected in the first state. DNREC has set up management zones in areas where the disease has been found, and more sampling is planned for this summer to see how far it may have spread. Officials are also considering new rules in those zones, including possible limits on deer feeding and baiting, carcass transportation restrictions, and mandatory testing. Chronic wasting disease is a fatal brain disease that affects deer and similar animals. Hunters in Delaware could start getting their first solo trip at a younger age. A new bill wants to lower the unsupervised hunting age from 18 down to 16. Now, of course, these teens would still need to have proper licenses and education. That includes a mandatory gun safety course and teachings about Delaware's hunting laws. Supporters say the bill would get more teens safely involved in hunting and create the next generation of hunters, but some gun and safety advocates warn that there still could be some risk.
Rigorously licensed firearm owners tend to be safer and more responsible. We also know that the careless handling of firearms is one of the most common causes of hunting incidents, and that teenagers are among the highest risk groups for impulsive and reckless behavior.
The bill is now in the Delaware's Natural Resources and Energy Committee in the House for consideration. Over in Maryland, they're taking part in managed deer hunts this fall, and winter can now sign up for a shooter qualification session. The Department of Natural Resources has released its 2026 schedule with at least 27 sessions planned at 11 locations across the state from June through December. A decade-long legal battle over gender equality in college sports is heading back before a federal judge in Delaware. Delaware State University is asking for more time to fully meet Title IX requirements in its athletics program, including adding another women's varsity team. The request comes as part of a revised court agreement in the case that's been active since 2010. A judge has given a preliminary approval with a final decision expected at a hearing in November. And now let's take a live look outside into Ocean City and bring in First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams for a look at our weather. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening to you, Brandon. Right now we're at 58 degrees in Lewis, a bit on the cool side for tonight, and we're going to stay in the 50s for the rest of the night with mainly clear skies. Okay, taking a look at some of the temps around the area, we're at 64 in Lewis at the official site, 60 actually in Georgetown, Seaford, Laurel, and we're at 60 degrees also at Bethany Beach, 62 in Ocean City. Now, even though we're feeling a little bit cooler now, we're actually going to start feeling a lot warmer for the next couple of days that are coming up because we have clear skies. Now, we're looking very clear at this present time, and all of the advisors that we had dealing with rip currents as well as the small craft advisory, all of those have been allowed to expire. So we're just kind of in the lurch right now, things becoming a bit on the quiet side before we really start warming up significantly in our neck of the woods. That's just going to come with the territory. Our expectations for tonight, going tomorrow, we're looking for temperatures in the 50s.
Thank you, Paul. This morning, Governor Matt Meyer announced that Thomas Jefferson University will lead the efforts for the state's first ever four-year medical school. The school itself, that will be at the University of Delaware in Newark. In Sussex County, there will be clinical education where students will get hands-on experience. The governor says that program is in part to cut into meeting primary care needs, as Delaware ranks last in the entire country in meeting primary care needs. The state says it will pay students loans if the med school grads stay in Delaware after graduation. In July of 2028, that's when Delaware's inaugural class of 40 medical students will start, but in the next 2 years leading up to that start. Next up is naming the dean for the first ever medical school in the first state. That decision will be made on December 31st. The president of Thomas Jefferson University, Dr. Susan Aldrich, says the medical school will generate homegrown doctors.
We have a shortage of physicians in the rural areas, but also in some of the suburban areas, there's shortages of specialists. So we're really looking forward to at least launching the opportunity for students to get a great education, stay in a wonderful state.
Students will spend their first 18 months learning at the University of Delaware while the state finalizes a, quote, long-term home. Future students can apply next summer with classes expected to start in 2028. This brings us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know, what should Delaware's medical school prioritize first? Let's take a look at the updated results from our 6 p.m. news hour. The majority, 81%, saying training local doctors, 12% says rural health care. And we actually do have a comment tonight from Jean in Lewis. She says outside oversight of all funding needs to be in place. And if you haven't voted yet, or you want to leave a comment just like Jean, you can do that on CoastTV.com or head on over to our mobile app. We have a full breakdown of the Delaware Medical School timeline right now on CoastTV.com. In May, a Delaware Superior Court judge dismissed a lawsuit filed by the ACLU of Delaware that challenged Fenwick Island's voting rules, specifically the rules that allows some businesses to vote in local elections. And now, according to a statement from the ACLU of Delaware, they're repealing that ruling. Coast TV News reporter Drew Bellinger shows us how Fenwick Island Mayor Natalie Magdeburg says the town has been voting this way for 18 years.
In Fenwick Island, where the mayor says everyone has a right to vote, the ACLU of Delaware thinks businesses in town should not be a part of that everybody.
A corporation's not really an individual person.
I feel they should be allowed to vote.
Frank Ferragine has lived in Fenwick Island for over a decade and sees no problem with corporations voting.
Of course, local businesses bring a lot to the town, and the town needs them to support the residents and the services, and they should be part of the whole thing.
The ACLU issued a statement Tuesday saying, quote, "We're not giving up. The ACLU is appealing this case on behalf of all of those who understand that voting is for people, not corporations." But the mayor of Fenwick Island, Natalie Magdeburg, tells Coast TV today that the town has voted this way for 18 years and says in the town where less than roughly 1,000 are registered to vote, almost 200 are legal entities and family trusts. The ACLU is worried that undermines the votes of the people, and Dave Krabby agrees.
Because businesses come, they do their thing, and then they go, and then they don't look back, and then the people that are here kind of just deal with the consequences or lack thereof of what the businesses pursue at any given time. So I think giving them too big of a voice is kind of detrimental.
Now the fight over who gets a ballot in Fenwick Island is heading back to court for yet another battle.
Mayor Natalie Magdeburg says she doesn't believe this sets precedent for other towns or cities, as they all have their own charter which gets approved by state legislator. And the ACLU of Delaware told Coast TV back in December that if they win this lawsuit, it will look into other towns and municipalities that allow corporations to vote, such as Henlopen Acres, Dagsboro, Bethel, and Dewey Beach. And heading over to Millsboro, if you live in the town, mark your calendar. There's a municipal election coming up on Saturday, June 13th. Polls will be open from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Millsboro Town Center on Wilson Highway. On the ballot, a District 2 council race between Ronald O'Neill and Stephen Webster, plus Gary Mack running for District 3, and Marty Presley running for an at-large seat. To vote, you must be at least 18 and live in town. And if you need an absentee ballot, make sure to apply by noon on Friday, June 12th, the day before the election. A father has been charged for the murder of his 10-year-old daughter in Smyrna. Delaware State Police say 49-year-old Bedora Cohn, troopers say last Thursday, they found Cohn's daughter Fatima dead in her bedroom at a home on Oakwind Circle. Investigators say the day prior, Cohn beat her with a belt, causing her to fall to the ground and hit her head on furniture. Police say 911 was not called for an extended period of time. Detectives say Cohn's other two children, an 11 and 15-year-old, had also been continuously physically abused. Cohn now faces murder and child abuse charges in Kent County. We have a full detailed article on that just devastating news out of Smyrna on CoastTV.com. And we now have new video tonight of the U.S. striking a ship that was trying to break through its blockade of Iran's ports, all as Secretary of State Marco Rubio is suggesting there's progress in nuclear talks with the Iranian regime. NBC's Garrick Hake has the latest.
Tonight, you can see the Hellfire missile launched into the engine room of an oil tanker trying to evade the U.S. blockade, after what CENTCOM said was multiple warnings over a 24-hour period. All as Secretary of State Marco Rubio telling lawmakers the blockade, which is causing the Iranian regime to lose an estimated $435 million daily in oil revenue, will stay in place until Iran reopens the Strait of Hormuz.
They're firing on commercial ships. So condition number one is they have to reopen the straits.
And that Iran must agree to curtail its nuclear enrichment.
They have agreed to negotiate aspects of their nuclear program that just a month ago, just a year ago, they were refusing to even mention.
But Democrats pressing Rubio.
We are the strongest nation on the planet Earth, and we're in a stalemate with Iran. And now we're begging to get back into a deal.
No one's begging for anything here. The Iranians might be begging because their economy's losing hundreds of millions of dollars a day.
And we are just getting started here on Coast TV News at 11. A potential boost for tourism in Talbot County, a new company attempting to touch down on Delmarva. Coming up, Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams in the Coast TV First Alert Weather Center finalizing the details on just how much warmer we are about to see for the rest of the week. But first, integration efforts in Milford. As we look back on American history on Delmarva, we tell you the story of the Milford 11. That and more as Coast TV News continues.
America 250 on Delmarva, brought to you by County Bank.
In 1954, 11 teenagers, who would later be known as the Milford 11, made history in Delaware by attempting to integrate the all-white Milford High School.
3 months after the landmark ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court, a petition was submitted to the Milford Board of Education requesting integration. On September the 8th, 11 African-American 10th grade students were admitted to the district's high school located at Lakeview Avenue. It led to opposition to desegregation and the closure of the school. The situation escalated when the founder of the National Association for the Advancement of White People, Brian Bowles, rallied thousands of supporters to keep segregation in Milford. There was an attempt to reopen the school later that month. Less than a third of Milford students attended. Other schools in Sussex County closed as a result. Due to concerns for the safety of the Milford 11, they were removed from the school and enrolled in schools in Dover and Georgetown. It would take another 8 years until integration of schools in Milford resumed. A historical marker at the school honors the Milford 11 and their legacy.
It's a complicated world where everything feels louder and faster. The headlines, the noise, the constant change. But here along the water, where the trees bend with the wind and the sun still finds its way through, something calmer endures. Neighbors helping neighbors, local businesses thriving, a community deeply rooted. Even in a complicated world, what matters most hasn't changed. County Bank, 35 years of growing something bigger than ourselves. County Bank member.
So we're going to eventually start warming up to the point where it's going to feel like summertime around here, particularly by the end of the work week. But as of right now, we are still feeling a bit on the cool side. We're at 61 degrees Rehoboth Beach at this hour, and we're going to drop into the upper 50s with clear skies, 58 degrees during the early morning hours. Well, here's where we stand as far as the temperature train is concerned for the last 24 hours. We're between 3 to up to 5 degrees warmer in most locations, the exception being Ocean City, where we're actually 5 degrees cooler there. All of the advisories dealing with the rip currents as well as the small craft advisories, those have now been allowed to expire along with the beach hazard for Ocean City. So we're sitting pretty for right now. In fact, pretty cool as well. We're going to drop to 55 degrees overnight for us for the overnight low in Long Neck, and in Milton we'll drop to 54, Georgetown and Redden, and 53 Millsboro as well as Selbyville. Sneezecast has been, well, on the high side, or as my grandson says, been tripping, pop pop. Yeah, for sure, because the grass is at extreme levels and the trees are at high levels and the weeds are not getting in on the action. So there's a reason why your nose is running probably for the very first time. We are right now, we're holding at 60 degrees in Georgetown at this present time, and another new forecast we have is our sprinkler cast. So do we need to keep the sprinkler on? Yeah, probably up till about 3 o'clock. Between 3 and 6, we could get a sprinkle from Mother Nature. It's very iffy at best, but this gives you a detailed hour-by-hour analysis on when to green light them and when to stop. We are expecting winds out of the north for tomorrow. Temperatures in the 70s, 77 for example in Lewis, Rehoboth Beach 75, Dewey Beach 75. Got lots of sunshine expected, especially in Dewey Beach, Chincoteague, Ocean City, and Bethany Beach. The UV index, thanks to all that sunshine, is going to be at a sky-high level at 9 straight across the board till we get to Sunday. So you're going to need that sunblock significantly. Wednesday, we start off in the 50s, end up at about 81, 82 degrees. Thursday, we start off in the 51 to 53 range, and we bounce up to about 85, for example, in Milton, Georgetown, Ellendale, and 86, the expected high on Thursday in Seaford. By the time we get into Thursday, Friday, or Friday, Saturday, we're going to have 90s overtaking our neck of the woods. Here's where we are, and the 90s are right there sitting on top of us. For the next 5 days, we're going to see rain develop more so, let's say, on Sunday going into Monday. And I'm taking a detailed look at that analysis. Sunday at about 5:30, we're looking at that rain hitting us, but then after that, it pretty much hightails it out of here pretty quickly. So not expecting a big, gigantic bump of rain. Here's a look at your extended forecast. And after that chance of rain with the cold front pushing through, we'll flip that 88 down to 68 for the high on Monday.
Thank you, Paul. We'll keep an eye on Monday. Clashes between law enforcement and protesters have brought nationwide attention to an immigration detention center in Newark, New Jersey. Lawyers for some of the detainees at the Delaney Hall say the conditions inside are inhumane. And now the state of New Jersey is suing the private company that owns the facility unless city officials are allowed inside to inspect it. Jen Sullivan has details on the ongoing protest and alleged mistreatment.
Barricades and federal agents lined outside this ICE detention center in Newark, New Jersey Tuesday. For more than a week, crowds have been protesting outside Delaney Hall, alleging those inside are being mistreated.
And we believe that it should be shut down because we have actual irrefutable evidence now that the place is uninhabitable.
The mayor of Newark now threatening to expand the state's lawsuit against the private company that operates the detention center unless city officials are allowed inside to inspect it.
They cannot be shielded by a contract that they have with Homeland Security.
Questions about alleged mistreatment began after hundreds of detainees went on a hunger strike to protest what they call dirty conditions, a lack of sufficient food, and overcrowding inside the detention, according to their representatives. The Department of Homeland Security has repeatedly denied there was a hunger strike and other allegations. At times, anti-ICE protests have turned violent, so the mayor implemented a curfew. Safe zones have been set up for protesters, and New Jersey State Police are assisting ICE.
When they did show up, they quickly realized these aren't peaceful protesters.
The allegations in Newark are raising greater questions about detainee mistreatment at ICE centers across the country as the Trump administration cracks down on illegal immigration.
Immigration enforcement in this country, it should be fair, just, and humane.
I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
In Talbot County, an effort to land seaplanes on the Miles River took a step forward today. The company, Coastal Seaplanes, conducted sound testing today. It gave people a chance to see and hear what future operations could look like. Some see the plan as a potential boost for tourism in St. Michael's, but others are raising concerns about safety and boat traffic on the water. The company's CEO, Sam Riggs, says the service is already operating in other parts of the region.
As a company, we provide safe charter via seaplanes that land on runways and water. We operate amphibious seaplanes to all over the Chesapeake Bay and the eastern seaboard, primarily the Mid-Atlantic.
RIG says the FAA has already wrapped up its review of the proposed seaplane base area. He says the company is continuing to work with the community as it explores future services in St. Michael's. If you're looking to pick up some Spanish this summer, a new community class in Georgetown might just be what you need. Starting Wednesday, June 10th and running through July 8th, the Georgetown Public Library will host a Spanish for English speakers course every Wednesday evening from 5:30 to 7, according to La Esperanza. Organizers say the class is designed for adults who want to learn conversational Spanish in a welcoming, community-based setting. No prior experience is needed. The Ocean View Police Department says they are launching 2 new programs to help teach students important life skills. 5th graders at Lord Baltimore Elementary recently took part in a CPR and Stop the Bleed training, learning hands-on CPR training and basic first aid. And later this week, students will get a chance to meet a police canine called Leo during a special event called A Lap with Leo. Police say the programs are designed to build positive relationships with kids while teaching skills that could help save a life. Coming up in sports, we check in on former Eagle A.J. Brown to see just how much he loves Boston compared to Philadelphia. DSN dives deeper into the blockbuster trade. The FIFA World Cup kicks off in Kansas City in less than 3 weeks, but thousands of fans have been priced out of attending games at the Kansas City Stadium. The cheapest remaining tickets Tuesday on the FIFA website were at $380, with some cheaper options on secondary markets, but with higher fees on those markets. Tickets prices are significantly more than past World Cups, and diehard fan Paul Carr says he's been to multiple World Cups.
I mean, I'm literally like in the last couple rows in the upper deck for some of these games, so I'm happy with what I ended up with. And yeah, I think I just wish I could share more with friends and stuff.
There will be some options to be part of the World Cup party, even if ticket prices are out of reach. Over in Milton, Hudson Fields will be hosting on Saturday, June 20th, the Germany versus Ivory Coast game. Doors open at 2 p.m. A new report shows jobs postings unexpectedly rose in April. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says that topped 7.6 million. The number is the highest it's been in almost 2 years. That's despite predicting jobs postings would shrink for the 3rd month in a row. The report suggests that the U.S. labor market could be stabilizing or possibly even expanding.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Finally, the A.J. Brown trade happened. Everyone knew he wanted out of Philadelphia, but just how strongly did the former wide receiver in the city of brotherly love want to go to New England? There were obvious reasons why Brown wanted to join the Patriots. It's going from one contender in the NFC to the Eagles to the team that just won the AFC in the Pats. He joined his former head coach with his first team in the NFL, Mike Vrabel, who had a great partnership with Brown when he was with the Tennessee Titans, and over the years there have been viral videos recircling of just how disappointed Coach Vrabel was when he was in the draft room when the Titans traded Brown to the Eagles, knowing how damning that would be for his offense. They're back together again, and for Brown, it's a special partnership because the Patriots were his day one.
When did we get this rug right here? Where did this come from?
It came from Amazon, but definitely a few years now. It's been here for a while.
While you were an Eagle, you had this rug in your house?
Absolutely.
You got to tell me why.
You know, some things just never change. You know, this is my team. This is my team since I was a kid. So it didn't matter. I mean, I was doing what I was supposed to be doing as an Eagle, but this is it.
Is that emotional cheating? I mean, he was pretty much cheating on the Eagles when he was with the team. Congratulations to Brown, and finally a resolution. And you know what, Eagles fans? At least you got a first-round pick in 2028 with the trade. That'll do it for sports. Have a good one, Delmarva.
And we are now taking a live look outside into Lewis, and after the break, we will have a final look at your forecast. Get ready, all the soccer fans in Lewis. On June 19th, Rocking the Dock says it's hosting a free World Cup watch party at the Lewis Ferry grounds. You can watch Team USA taking on Australia on an 18-foot screen, a beautiful view right by the water. Gates open at 1 p.m. The match kicks off at 3, and the whole thing is family-friendly with food trucks, giveaways, and a festival-style atmosphere.
Alrighty then. Take a look at Milford. We're looking at 56 degrees right now. We're going to stay in the 50s for the rest of the evening. All of our advisories have been allowed to expire in our neck of the woods, so that's good, but we are getting ready to get really warm really quick into the 90s. Peggy Wazowski of Millville. Congratulations, you're our umbrella winner, courtesy of Paul Davis, Property Restoration Experts. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line. Your forecast is just a call away, sponsored by the law office of Brockstead, Mandalis, and Federico. And here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. Listen, we're going to ease our way into the 80s for tomorrow, then upper to mid-80s for Thursday. Then we clock 90s for Friday and Saturday. We'll watch out for thunderstorms on Sunday, at least briefly. And then that's going to drop the high by 20 degrees. We're going to have a 20-degree difference between Sunday and Monday before we stair-step our way back into the 80s.
All right, thank you, Paul, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 11. For more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, that's up next. And we'll see you tomorrow morning for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.